Hey, what is going on, you guys? It's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing, representing the squad. And today we're going over an update on my Zephyr deck profile. This has been currently the deck that I love the most out of all my decks right now. I'm not saying it's my favorite, but it's the deck that I chose to play for this format. And I've just been enjoying it so much. I haven't found a deck quite like this in a while. Ever since I found out about Crystron's. And then before that, it was a Ritual Beast. And before that, it was like Herald's. Normally, there's a deck that kind of just like piques my interest so much because of how sophisticated it is. And this was one of those decks. When I saw it on pen and paper, it looks really difficult. It doesn't seem like everything works the way it looks like it should. But when you pick it up and you learn how to play it and you think really hard about it and plan your plays, this deck is really combo heavy. It's really skillful. This is the most skillful pendulum deck that exists right now in just period, not even in the format, just period. There's no pendulum deck that I find more sophisticated and more difficult to play than this. And I love the challenge. The challenge is very welcoming to me. This is the same deck that I've been piloting, that I've gotten numerous first place and second places at locals. When I took this to Lubbock, unfortunately, I did the same thing. I went X3. I always do. It's just, I don't know why it happens to me, but it happens, but I can't really be mad at it. It's just like, I have the same record every regionals that I go to. I'm always X3, and I'm always told by my homeboy or another judge, like, hey man, if you were X3, you would have topped. But like, we're getting there. I feel like if anything's gonna give me my invite, it'll be this deck or it'll be Herald of Perfection. I'm not gonna play Dracos. I just can't do it. It's too boring. But let's hop into the main deck without further ado. So starting off with monsters, we play 3 copies of Zefra. Zefra is your best Zefra monster. He's the most important scale. He has no restriction. He loads your extra deck and changes his scale number. And his monster effect is beastie. Not once in the regionals did I ever pendulum summon twice, but you're able to. The thing was just I didn't have enough Zephyrs to do so. Like on the field, you need to have 3 at least. But he's really, really powerful. He deals with Masterpiece easily. He can bring himself out to deal with Masterpiece, and he could take him on head on. He's really, really strong. He has protection. Like, he is the boss monster of the main deck. 3450, son. And then 3 Zephyr Nuis. Zephyr Nui is the lifeblood of the deck. He searches out your engine. He floats. Well, now he doesn't float, but he searches out your engine, and then if he gets destroyed, he searches again. So you get a lot of value out of this one card, because when you pendulum summon him on your turn, you search, and then on your opponent's turn, when you destroy him, you search again. So you always get basically a +1 off of him. When you think about it in terms of card economy, it might be a gradual thing, but in the long run, he's going to get you a lot of advantage, and he's a 26 booty. So even going second, you can wall up and set up with your traps and negates, and you can break their board the wrong way, which, you know, naturally, the right way is like picking it apart when you open up. But this deck can really tank heavy, and it can also put up such a front that even going second, playing against a board full of all these ridiculously powerful monsters, you can put up a wall that basically says, you can't run over me, but if you activate any effect to try to get over it without running over it, I'm going to negate it and shuffle it, negate it and destroy it, and I'm going to snipe it, and then I'm going to take it apart. And then we have 1 Zephyr Saiton. He helps you out in your Trickstar matchup, your Draco matchup, your Stun matchup. He helps out a lot. And his 1900 body matters so much. I actually played against quite a few decks that were stun related and stun heavy, and having the 1900 and the ability to pop face downs at the same time helps a lot. 1 Zephyr Thubin, he's basically your Dryden of the deck. He pops face ups, which is important. He's helped me to get over a Thunder King Ryo a couple times. This helped me, these help in so many different matchups. They're really, really important. I feel like the Satellarknight Zephyrs are the ones that help you going second. Then Zephyr Windy to add your resources back from your extra deck to your hand. I'm considering playing a Zephyr Pilica because there was times when it came up in a duel where I was like, if I had a Zephyr Pilica, I could have just normal summoned it, special summoned my Zephyr Nui that got detached, and then made an instant Electrum right there. Or I could have left the Zephyr Nui on the field and then popped it and searched, and it was just like, Zephyr and Pilica would have been clutch. So like, she came up once, but if she continues to come up where I really feel like I need a player, I'm going to put 1 in here. And then 1 Zefraxi. My Zephyr lineup's a little off. The most standard list you'll see is 3 Zephyr Nui, 3 of this, and then 1 of all the other ones. But I just play what I feel like is needed, what's worked for me. So that's pretty much it for the Zephyr monsters. Then you have your standard for every pendulum deck. If you want to play pendulums competitively, you have to play Astrograph because he's that good. Even if you don't play Electrum, he helps you to play through boards going second. He helps you to OTK. He helps you to live more. He also he helps you to establish bigger boards as well. So there's a lot of good things about this card. And 3 copies of Chronograph. Honestly, even though Astrograd's broken, Chrono's kind of like my favorite. He's been my favorite for a while because I always use him to make my board load. Board load's like my trump card. Normally, when I'm in a pinch, every pinch I've been able to get out of just by using him with the Electrum to make a board load. So Chrono's just really, really good. He also helps me to put out Cerberus on the board. Like, if I have another card in my skill, I can't do Cerberus, Search Jackal, then Jackal special him. So I'll bring him out through this means and then banish the monster still and then OTK just through that. So Chrono is just really strong. He helps you to apply pressure to the board. He helps you to play through anti-spell because he can put another monster on the board for you to make the extra deck monster accordingly that will deal with the anti-spell. And then we have the Mythical Beast engine, which is a standard 3-2. You play 3 copies of Mythical Beastmaster Cerberus. Going second, he's your go-to guy, and 2 Jackal Kings. Going first, he's your go-to. So I like that this engine is flexible and versatile, just like the Astro and Chrono, because they're powerful going first and they're powerful going second. So I do like that you have the options. I don't want it to be so one-sided. This is a great going first deck, but believe it or not, this deck has no problem going second. Whether it's walling up, whether it's black rosing you, whether I'm Zephyr warring you, even if I'm just banishing with Master Service, it works. And then we have 2 Dark Worm and 2 Donuts. I like the second Donut because this is my other favorite skill. My favorite skills in this deck are Zefra and Gate 0 because there's no restrictions and I can Pendulum summon anything that basically is not Cerberus and Astrograph, which is totally fine. They can actually get themselves out on the field without Pendulum summoning, so you can make everything. And then for your 1-ofs, you play 1 Performer Plot Adi Synchron, one of my other techs, and also a trump card. He allows me to do my Calamities combo, and also what I'm thinking about incorporating into my extra deck is BLs, because it has came up where I can use him, because BLs just says Dark Tuner. The other ones have no restriction. I could use him to synchro with Zephyr Nui, with Jackal King, or even with Chronograph and go into BLs. I realized in a Draco matchup, if I could have made BLs, I really would have just won that duel. Like, it's so good. I'm actually going to put a BLs in my extra deck, and he's how you make it. You can also make this bad boy right here, because you play him. You can make this. So, like, he's really, really strong. There's a lot of things he can do. He helps you out. Even when you get debarriered, you can always just gnome him and synchro summon, for example. And how, like, sometimes how I played when I got barriered, I would, like, normal summon, like, a Gate 0 or just normal summon a normal summonable monster, and then Pendulum summon my hand trap, like Ghost Ogre or Ash, and then Black Rose my opponent if I need to, or just make a Yazi and sit on it. So, like, this deck is just incredible, man. It plays through so much that Pendulum Magicians can't actually play through, and this deck can. Then Star and Time. This guy does help because sometimes I just need a normal summon. So it's not always bad when you draw him. And this card's not always bad. Sometimes I've used him as a scale, and sometimes I Pendulum summon him out and use him as the dart to go into my my Supreme King Starving Venom. And that's pretty much it for your Pendulum monsters. And then for your non-Pendulum monsters, the only thing that's changed was when I played at this deck at Lubbock Regionals, I was main decking 2 copies of Solemn Strike. Because I've been seeing so much Dracos, and I feel like Strike was only good for the Pendulum Magician Mirror match, I opted to cut the Solemn Strikes for other cards, 2 other powerful cards. And what my theory was, I just wanted the mirror match for Pendulums, just a Pendulum mirror match in general, to be as free as possible to strike the Pendulum summon. But I felt like, you know what, I don't even need the strikes because I've never really lost to a Pendulum without like, unless it was through a card that wasn't in their archetype. Like, if they somehow like Lava Golem or Spear Moded or like Twin Twisted at the right time, it's stuff like that where I'll lose, but I don't lose to them outright through their pure mechanic. So I was like, we can play strikes for the Pendulum mirror match, or we can add in 2 cards that'll help in every other matchup, including the True Draco matchup. So I cut my 2 Solemn Strikes from my main deck and put in a second Joel and Lockbird and a second Zephyr War. So the hand trap lineup is now 2 Ash Blossoms, 2 Ghost Ogres, and True Droll Locks. The reason why you don't need to play 3 of any hand trap is actually because your monsters are searchable through Stardust Charge Warrior and also Chao Fang, the Phantom of the Yang Xing. He searches these tuners. And these have other applications and synergy in your deck because they are tuners. You can synchro. You play a lot of synchros in your extra deck. They help you when you get barriered. They also help you to get out of pinches and binds. There are times when I did Dragon Shrine, brought out my Dark Worm, searched the Gate 0, and then just normal summon a Ghost Orc and went into Black Rose. And just like cleared the board, and then Pendulum summoned after that, made my Electrum and OTK'd. It's just insane. So these are good to hand trap, and they're good because they're tuners, and they're good because you can recycle them from your graveyard with your Ptolemy M7. So I was like 2 and 2 and 2. And the reason why I put the second Joe Lockberg was for the Draco matchup. People think, oh, well, if I have a mono auto, I can't be hand trapped. First of all, he's at 3. He's not searchable. So the only way he's going to hard draw it. And he's at 3, so you can see him enough. But that was my reason for playing the second Zephyr War. Because if I can war your Amano Iwado, my monster effects are back on. And now I can hand trap you. Now I can negate with Naruto and stuff like that. So that's why I played War. And that's another reason why my deck can go further than Pendulum Magicians can. If you Amano Iwado, a Pendulum Magician player, they basically have to pray to God that you don't have enough to pop and break their whole board, because it's just like you're in charge now. Like, you took control of the game. And then one Destrudo, because he is like a really, really powerful sack. You have 4 other ways to get him out. And also, he just gets you out of really, really tight binds and pinches where it's either barrier or anti-spell. You have a lot of ways to out the cards that are supposed to be Pendulum decks. And also, he helped me shining in the Draco matchup, where he had nothing but Majesty's Maiden and a bunch of back rows. And when I did the black rows, he chained the Maiden to search the Masterpiece. And I realized he had the Apocalypse after, but he wasn't able to chain Maiden then chain Apocalypse because he didn't have a valid target in hand. So the black rows cleared the whole field and left them with only a Masterpiece in hand, and that was the only card in his hand. So Destrudo is pretty nutty. He's insane. I've even used him to go into a Skull Dread to put the 4th monster with the different name that I needed. So I would never cut Destrudo. Then for spells, you have 3 Zephyr Providence. It's pretty much your Stratos or your Rhoda for any Zephyr card. And it provides a layer of protection for any Zephyr cards. And it has a power with an S, meaning if you Dark Hole, you can save them. If your opponent like Rangekis you or does this guy right here to blow up your field, if there's Zephyrs there, you just protect them. It also helps you to make your Zephyr War 100% free. When you do your Zephyr Thubin, when you target your scale and they're face up, you just chain this, save your scale, and then you just pop for free. So not only does it search, but it makes your follow-up plays free. And it protects your scales from Twin Twisters, stuff like that. It's just really, really strong. I wish it wasn't hard once per turn, and I wish it was a secret rare. Then we have 3 Oracle of Zefra. Yes, it is a hard once per turn, but it's very important that you need to see it. It will get you out of a lot of binds. When you're like going second, using this to search Zephyr Thubin is important. Using this to search Zephyr Saitan is important. And also, you want to maximize on every possible way to get to Zefrath. Zephyr Nui searches Zefrath. This searches Zefrath. This searches Zefrath. And obviously, the 2 Optimus Prime searches Zefrath, which I'm actually considering bumping this to 3 and putting in another field spell like Dragon's Ravine, because I started side decking a field spell that I really need to see that badly, that I feel like the 3rd way to search it would like really help. So all these spells search out your Zephyr engine. It's mad consistency. You literally play 0 bad spells. If you draw at least 1 of your spells, it's a very, very good thing. And then you play 3 Dragon Shrine. Yeah, 2 secrets, 1 super. It makes my balls hurt, but I'm trying to get the 3rd secret. I'm trying to rarity bump pretty much everything. I know that Providence doesn't come in a higher rarity, but if I can rarity bump it, I'm going to rarity bump it. So 3 Dragon Shrine and 1 Foolish. You have your Dark Worm engine and your Destrudo. These are really important. Going second, these are going to steal a lot of games that they shouldn't. Because most people only think that you're going to go Dark Worm. And they're like, okay, I'm just going to Ogre his Electrum. It's really stupid to Ash a Dragon Shrine anyway. So it's a validation to the reason why most people don't Ash it. If you do Ash it, hey, waste the Ash. That's fine. Now I can Zephyr Nui and search my traps. But like, the thing is, this always resolves. And because of that, it allows you to play going second very comfortably. And worst case scenario, it's Ash bait. And I like actually when they do Ash it, because I know now that my stuff can go off, that I can search my traps, that I can do my Providence, I can do my Oracle, stuff like that. I can do my Astrograph and my Master Service, and I don't have to worry about them stopping it. And then for your traps, my trap lineup is really late now. I play like, oh my gosh. So Zephyr players, they do like this 1 of each trap thing. I don't believe in that at all. I feel that the main reason why this deck is so powerful is because of its traps. A lot of people have net decked me lately, and like people are starting to see, like I guess I opened a lot of people's eyes to see that the traps are really where it's at. A lot of people have copied my ratios, and I don't mind that because I feel like it should have been that way anyways. Like people should have been playing it like this anyway. So I played 2 9 Pillars, 2 Zephyr Divine Strikes, and 2 Zephyr Wars. These are all searchable, and these are the reason why you can grind to like infinity. These are never ever 1-for-1s when you do it. Because when you think of these, think of it this way. Your Zephyr Nui is a body on field, and he's what got you to these. And when he leaves, he's going to get another one of these or another spell or trap that searches these anyways, or the monsters. So these are always free when you use them. You force your opponent to take negs, And this makes your opponent neg while you plus. This makes your opponent neg while you plus. Why? Because you negate and shuffle, or you hit a card that was mandatory to them. Then you, afterwards, you pop your Zephyr Nui and then search. So you take a -1, I get a +1. So it's really, really strong. Like, these traps are so broken because, like I said, they're not 1-for-1 exchanges. They're free. They're free. When you get them, it's for free. It doesn't cost anything. All you're doing is putting a 26 booty on the field that is food for Electrum, fodder for your synchro plays, and your link summoning and XYZs, and you're getting this in addition to that. So I played 2, 2, and 2. And I would never change it. This was at 1 before, but I was realizing, like, in my Draco matchup, this comes up a lot. It comes up to hit Monarch's Erupt. Like, you can literally out Monarch's Erupt by activating Zephyr Providence and then playing this from hand. And you pop the Monarch's Erupt, and then you can Pendulum Summon and all your effects go off. You can hit Anti-Spell, you can hit Diagram, you can hit Amano Iwado, you can hit Heritage when they're trying to Heritage for 3. A properly timed Zephyr War can stop them from Tribute Summoning during your turn. Because if you have the Zephyr Scales and they're like, alright, Apocalypse to Tribute Summon during your main phase, and you're like, chain this from hand, pop Apocalypse. If I have a monster, you can pop it. But if I don't, which naturally if I have just Scales, it's just going to be that, then you can't bring out your Masterpiece. It's really, really strong. It helps so much. Even hitting the Diagram, so then I can go into my Borlo play and then get your Masterpiece out of there. So 2, 2, and 2. Always and forever now. This is how I'm playing it. That concludes the main deck. Now let's hop into this extra deck. We played 2 copies of Electrum. This deck doesn't need him, but having Electrum increases your ceiling not only exponentially, but it gives you the ability to OTK going second, just using Electrum, getting Astro or Chrono to put the damage on board necessary, and go into the Fusion, which is going to copy him and put more pressure on the board. It also, every time I make this, I'm able to make Borload in a pinch. And Borload has been like my favorite extra deck monster. I've been making him like every single duel. Every time I go into time or I'm in turns like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 5, this is my trump card. I never, ever, ever make my Borload early. I always save him because I'm smart with him. I'm never going to Borload first. It's not even for the theory that, oh, they're going to Borload and take my Borload. It's for, I know that later on in the duel, I'm really going to need this. And when you're playing Zephyrs, there always is a later on. This deck can't be OTK. This deck can't be evenly matched. You can Kaiju and it won't change anything. You can Twin Twisters and it'll get negated. This is a deck that doesn't lose to Anti-Spell. It doesn't lose to Barrier. It doesn't lose to Twin Twisters. It doesn't lose to Evenly Match. It doesn't lose to a Kaiju. It doesn't lose to Spear Mode. You can clear my monsters and still have to deal with my traps. You can Amano Iwado, and Amano Iwado will stop my Naruto. It'll freeze up my Zephyr Nui. It will freeze up whatever monsters in my extra monster zone, but it won't stop my traps. This deck doesn't lose to the things that other Pendulum decks lose to. This deck has a lot of strengths. It has a lot of utility. It has a lot of diverse effects and a plethora, like just so many different things that you can do. Its weaknesses are so little. Its weaknesses are when you don't have enough negates. That's its real weakness, when you can only have 2 counter traps and your opponent can play through those and you have 0 hand traps. And if they can play through those, then that means you can't stop them completely, but you still slow them down. Like, I've never had a bad experience playing my Zephyrs, but that's because I built them the way that I like them. And I didn't net deck. I never net decked anybody to make my Zephyrs. I picked them up. I played them. You guys saw how I was doing with Abyss Actors and a bunch of crazy crap. I took that all out and I made them like this. So, like, I just learned how to play it by myself. Then we have Borload, my favorite extra deck monster. We have Scoldred. He's so easy to make. You can make him every single turn 1. There are times like games 2 and 3, because I feel like my Zephyr Nui, they know how 9 pillars work with this and Zephyr Nui. They'll Kaiju this and make 9 pillars dead. I like to instead go into this and just go Zephyr Divine Strike instead. And what I want to do with this is I want to draw some of my side deck cards, or I want to draw at least 1 more Zephyr Trap. At least 1 more. If I can draw at least 1 more, or if I can just draw a Terraforming or Providence or just a monster, it'll make it a lot better. And once I make my Scoldred, I might give them an extra monster zone, but their Spear Modes, their Lava Golems, and their Kaijus are completely dead, because every powerful monster has turned into this one. And I'll just summon him, set 3, pass. There have been times that I'll like summon him and then use his effect special Jackal King from hand, and then set 3 and pass. And then the Jackal King might not have counters, but it'll say this: don't play your spell or you're going to give him counters and he'll become a negate. So it's like really powerful, and it's like a mind game. So this is like my go-to games 2 and 3 for that reason alone. So that their Lava Golems, like, I want them to draw dead cards. So he's like my go-to game 2 and 3. And this is always like, I go to him like every duel. Borload is like my favorite right now. And then we have Chow Fang, Gotems. By the way, I need to do a shout outs to team what do they call it? Team Knockout. My homeboy Ed, who used to be a member of this team, he wanted to start his own team, so I want to support him, and I do want to give him his shout out. So shout outs to Team Knockout, and also one of their teammates gave me this Ultimate Rare Gotems. So definitely shout outs to them. If you guys haven't checked them out, go ahead and check them out. Look it up on YouTube, watch their channel. You might find some stuff that you like. And then we have Cloud Castle. These are the level 9 Synchros. This is purely for the combo with Gotems, where you're either going to rip 2 cards out their hand. Like when I'm playing Dracos, I like to do Cloud Castle to bring back the Gotems after I rip the card out their hand. And I don't go into Calamities because Calamities doesn't hurt Dracos. What I like to do is actually bring the Gotems back and then hit another card out their hand. And when they're playing with 4 cards in hand and I have 3 negates, even if this is Demise, I can answer the Demise with the Ash Blossom. So it basically says no matter what, I'm going to win. Because my deck inherently opens up with a minimum of 4 negates. It's 3 negates sometimes because when you have 2 pendulum scales, you can only set 3 in your back row. So I like to keep 3 negates in the back row and 1 hand trap, and I'll have monster negates on field. But this ensures that I get 2 cards out their hand. I've gotten lucky hitting Demises. I've gotten lucky actually hitting the Amano Iwado. It also gives me the knowledge that I need to know what I'm playing game 1. And so even if they scoop it up, and like there have been times that I've resolved this and then they'll just scoop, because of him, now I know what I'm playing and I know how to side deck. Whereas if it weren't like that, they would scoop and I still wouldn't know what I'm playing, so I wouldn't know how to side deck. So there's a lot of good things about this card. And then we have Yazi. He gets me out of a lot of binds. He's just really, really absurd. He can't even be targeted, and that's really strong. And then we have Black Rose. It's either Yazi or Black Rose. There are games that I go into both of them. They play through the barriers and the anti-spells, like I said. Yazi has even helped me in the Draco matchup. Really, really strong and problematic. I've used him to float into Zephyr Nui, and then made an Electrum and popped my Zephyr Nui, and then searched the Zephyr War and played Zephyr War from hand and popped another card. It's just crazy how this deck goes off. Metaphys Horus, he's here to, if Masterpiece is spell and trap, you can take the spell and trap Masterpiece. He's also here because you can negate the diagram and still a monster, and outside of the True Draco matchup, this does so much. Because when you summon him with the field spell, he's chainlink 1, the field spell is chainlink 2. So this says negate your Vortex and then take your Naruto. And Vortex is negated permanently. Or I can negate this and then take your Electrum, for example. Like, he's really strong. He has powerful effects. The ones you're going to be using are the negate a face-up card permanently and take control of opponent's monster, but your opponent has to give it. So he relinquishes his monster to you. He helps you out a lot. I've even taken a Borreload with this, which was insane. Like, his effect to take a monster does not target. It says your opponent gives you control. So I negated his Gale Purple Poison and then took the Borreload. This card's just insane. Then we have Stardust Charge Warrior. It's just your standard play to stack a Kaiju, a Lava Golem, or a Hand Trap. Sometimes I've even stacked Astrograph to OTK, so he's just really strong. Then we have True King of all Chlamydia, 1 Ptolemy M7, and 1 Naruto for your XYZs. And then 1 Supreme King Dragon Starving Venom. Because I'm playing Zephyrs, people never expect to see this coming out. Mostly it's just for Pendulum Magicians and like Dark Pendulums. But because I play a fair amount of Darks, like the Jackal Kings, the Chronos, the Astros, and the Dark Worms, I can make this in a bind. And he helps me out a lot because whatever monster effect I don't have in my arsenal, he can target that in the field and grave and he'll become that. So I like him. He's like a trump card. The deck's full of trump cards. It's full of ways that just can get you out of binds, man. I'm telling you. We side deck 3 Evenlies, and I opted to play 3 Twins to hit the anti-spells, the skill drains, the Monarch's Erupts, to even hit the Imperial Iron Walls, just like hit all the floodgates to force you to activate D-Barrier on standby to hit the strikes. This is like, even if I don't know what I'm playing, I'm going to side deck this. Because like every deck plays some kind of back row that they side deck going on games 2 and 3. This helps me out immensely, specifically in the True Draco matchup. If I can hit their anti-spell and just any other face down, now I can play Yu-Gi-Oh! Twin Twister is just insane. Discarding doesn't really matter with this deck because you can play with 2 cards in hand. The 2 cards would just be a Scale and a Zefra. Those 2 cards will get you Zephyr Nui on field and a trap. So the other 3 or 4 cards when you're going second can be wasted and just used to bait negates. So you got really powerful cards for going second, and you got Dark Hole and Raigeki. I played 2 Kaijus and 1 Lava Golem. Just the 1 Lava Golem because you can actually stack him on top of your deck and draw him. But I'm going to cut him for a full-fledged Kaiju package. I want to do 3 Kaijus in a Slumber so I can have a 3rd board wipe to side in optionally. Because I feel like it'll increase my ceiling. True Draco is the matchup that I'm really focused on now because I don't struggle against Pendulum Magicians. I don't struggle against Rogue. I don't struggle against Lightsworn. I don't struggle against ABCs. The biggest thing was just True Dracos. And it's not necessarily a struggle, but it's just I know it's a deck that it's not going to have a problem playing through my negates because they have Demise in their arsenal. And while theoretically they might not always have Demise, because of that, they can play through 3 negates and then activate Demise and get 3 fresh cards, and I hate that. Then we have D-Barrier and Zombie World. These are for going first when you're playing in the Pendulum Mirrors, Invoked, Mech Knights, other arsenals, other archetypes that do, you know, like XYZ, Fusion, etc. And then Zombie World is here for the True Draco or True Draco matchup specifically. I searched this with Terraforming. I just play it, and then I pass turn, and now not only will I stop their Amanu Iwado with the Zefra War, but they'll waste their normal summon and they can't activate a spell to do an additional tribute summon. And then when they try to activate their diagram to pop the spell, to pop this, I'll negate the activation of their diagram, or I'll ash it, or I'll ogre it. This says I win. Like, it literally says I win. I want to play a third Terraforming just so I can see this more. But that's pretty much my deck profile, you guys. I know I went pretty in depth, but thank you so much for your patience. I love this deck a lot. It's just one of my favorites right now. Let me know in the comment section below what your honest opinion and feedback is for this deck profile. Cards that I really want to play are Steal the Strikes. We have BLs. Fairy Knight Ignar, because you can make them, and he's like Trivia that you can't respond to. We have more hand traps. I don't know. I'm just on the fence about playing like 3/3/3 or something. Also, it came up where I was like, you know what? If I had Torrential, I could Torrential for free because it's Zephyr Providence. And then Warning and Judgment, I considered replacing the True Strikes with these for the True Draco matchup and just any matchup in general. And then also I considered, you know, the third Terraforming. So these are all cards that I keep around me just in case I want to change my deck up. Because I'm trying to prepare for, you know, the best and be ready for the worst at the same time. But that concludes the deck profile. I love y'all. Make good choices. Don't hurt your brain cells. Be safe and stay tuned for future content, y'all. I'm out.